I think the build up this year has been different as well. Whether or not you like ETFs, you have Larry Fink on side. It's like all the elite key players are on side, and it just feels like we're beyond that point now of if it works, does it work? Like I feel like we're in a very good place.
Yeah,
not to rest on my laurels, but
I think there's probably the most economic civil unrest in a while, at least since '08, obviously. But '08 was a financial crisis. This is civil unrest around concepts like inflation. And you're seeing gold trading bullish in the face of a hawkish Fed. I mean, you're seeing the worst bond market ever, or at least since the mid 1800s, which if you count that far, I mean that. So yes, I think we're living in a very unique time. You're seeing debt to GDP in America go from 30% to 130%, global debt to GDP well over 300%. And now you're seeing rumors of senators and potential presidents or former presidents embracing Bitcoin. So yeah, I think it feels different because the world is now realizing the issues that we have to face, and Bitcoin's main stage. No pun intended.
Well, we had Preston Pish and Luke Groman here the other day, and we were talking about the bonds with them. And when you start to think about long duration bond, I mean, there's no 30-year bond anymore. No one gives a shit about that.
Yep.
But if you think about it as rationally as you can, I mean, I would buy Bitcoin over a bond any day, but I understand some people with dollars, even with Bitcoin, would hold some shorter duration bonds because for whatever reason. I mean, Tether, they're buying bonds, they're not just buying Bitcoin. But if you really think, if you're going to put your money in one place, if you really understand Bitcoin for 30 years, you're going to put it in a bond or Bitcoin. It's like generational wealth changing for 30 years in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think no matter what financial market you look at, like the S&P year over year up, Bitcoin year over year up, gold year over year up. What does that tell you? Is like not a lot of confidence in the future of fiat currency. Everyone's pricing in currency debasement, right? So it's the collective market is telling us that the future is in hard, scarce assets, not in government currency. And whatever, like deficits are a problem, debt to GDP is a problem, growth's a problem, rates are a problem. But the point is that the market's not buying it this time around, and everyone seems to be collectively terrified. Like Larry Fink and I are on the same page, probably for the first time ever, right? So yeah, 100%. I think the narrative is pretty clear, and they're going to have to print at some point. I mean, they're already printing, right? I think people get too fixated on the cost of capital as opposed to the amount of capital, like the cost of capital being rates, the cost of money. You know, it doesn't matter where rates are as long as they continue to expand credit capital, right? And so they are printing, maybe not through rates, but through swap lines, bank term funding programs, and we are living through inflationary times, even if rates are at 5+%. And yeah, assets are winning. Bitcoin's the best performing asset of all time.
Well, and the whole Larry Fink thing for me is fascinating because it's, you know, at a time you can consider it, oh, Larry Fink just wants to have BlackRock to have an ETF because they can earn the fees on it. But I think it's more than that. I think they know what's coming. They themselves need Bitcoin. Their clients need Bitcoin. I think if presidential candidates are looking at Bitcoin, they need Bitcoin. It's that kind of game theory is played out that everyone kind of needs Bitcoin now.
Yeah, listen, I like the global debt to GDP is my favorite metric because what it tells you, so money is our time and energy in an abstracted form, right? What I mean by that is you guys do this podcast in exchange for money. Someone mows a lawn in exchange for money, fixes a windshield in exchange for money, bags groceries in exchange for money. And so it is our contributions to society, our time, our energy captured in an abstracted form. For a government to take out debt or borrow, money is about borrowing our time and energy. So I think government debt is the closest thing we've ever seen to time travel, because you're borrowing the collective populace time and energy from the future. How do you time travel? Well, we haven't figured that out yet, but how do you get close? Is you borrow human time and energy from the future. And so by looking at global debt, you can see how much time and energy from the human population and its future have been borrowed. And then if you look at the growth, which is what that metric tells us, is how is that time and energy they're borrowing being invested in their ability to pay that back. And with global debt to GDP at over 300%, it means they've borrowed a lot of our future and a lot of our time and energy with no way to pay it back. And what everyone's realizing is that loss has to be realized. So there is a loss. Governments have borrowed our time and energy, in my opinion, arguably maliciously so, without permission, and they don't know how to pay it back. And so I think everyone, including Larry Fink now even, is looking around the room and like, who's realizing that loss? Whose time and energy is going towards paying that back? And Bitcoin is arguably the first exit door we've ever had accessible to us all. It's a casting vote to say, I don't know the answer, but it's not going to be my time and energy. And I think everyone's speculation is currency debasement is the way out for government, is you can steal the time and energy of everyone alive today, everyone holding US dollars by printing more of them. And you can fill that hole. You can realize that loss by printing, right? And I think Bitcoin is the best expression of currency debasement. So if you want to protect yourself, you buy Bitcoin. If you want a put option on the bond market, you buy Bitcoin. If you want to be long volatility, if you want to be long chaos, if you want to monetize this problem, if you want to monetize and make money and benefit from the issues government has caused, Bitcoin is that. And I think everyone between Larry Fink to President Bukele to Dorsey to Saylor to now potentially Trump, right? That's what I think is happening is that so I love that global debt to GDP.
To you,
metric.
to I, to Danny, to everyone.
Right. It's the first time there's ever been an alternative financial system, an alternative money that we all have access to. You know, traditionally, you think of gold, you think of real estate as ways to capture and store your time and energy. Why? Because gold is a collection of chemicals that's close to what you want out of a money because government can't print it, right? It's hard to create more of it. It's not perfect, but it's close. Real estate, in theory, the theory behind real estate is you can't print any more land. Does that mean you can't print any more real estate? Unfortunately not. They're going to build a building in Manhattan that's 10,000 stories high, right? But these things are close. And Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the first man-made money. We didn't make gold. We didn't make land. Depends on how religious you are and stuff, but right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
We made Bitcoin from scratch to solve this specific problem. And it is the first man-made, human-engineered money to be perfect. And it is the best expression of this problem that everyone has access to. Not everyone has access to Miami beachfront real estate. Not everyone has access to store tons and tons of gold in a vault protected by armed weapons in their basement. But everyone can get Bitcoin and get out. I think one of the issues is the exit door is not very big. All right. Can everyone get out? Mathematically, no.
This conversation with Jack Mallers was really captivating, rich with insights into the state of global finance, the unique role of Bitcoin, and the urgent challenges facing traditional monetary systems. The three main lessons from this conversation are: 1. Bitcoin as a lifeline in uncertain times. As economic conditions become more volatile and debt levels continue to rise, Jack Mallers emphasizes Bitcoin's potential as a reliable alternative to traditional assets like bonds. With its decentralized nature, Bitcoin offers a hedge against economic instability and currency debasement, making it a valuable tool for preserving wealth. 2. Understanding debt as borrowed time. Jack highlights that global debt represents a form of time travel, borrowing future productivity to fuel today's spending. With debt to GDP ratios exceeding 300%, the consequences are inevitable. Debt must eventually be repaid, often through inflation and devaluation of fiat currencies. Bitcoin, with its fixed supply, offers a way to protect against these risks. The shift toward Bitcoin. Among financial elites, Jack notes a significant change in how influential figures, including Larry Fink, are viewing Bitcoin. What was once considered a niche asset is now seen as a serious hedge by some of the biggest names in finance. This shift underscores Bitcoin's growing legitimacy as a long-term store of value in an increasingly uncertain world. So, what do you think about this Bitcoin conversation? Do you agree with Jack Mallers and his arguments? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoy this type of content and want to see more, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, keep learning and keep stacking.